why is documentation important? How can you like support your documentation at your company better? And the way I think about documentation is there's a couple of things why it matters or why people do it or kind of what are the benefits. The first one, which is the most obvious for certain companies, if you work in aerospace or medical devices, is just compliance. It's like in certain cases, it's not a I would like to have it. It's like you kind of need to have it. But outside of that, it's kind of a threefold. It's troubleshooting. So anytime a problem happens down the road, figure out where the mistake and the breakdown was. The more detailed your documentation, the faster and the easier you can track that and you can address the problem. The second one is knowledge transfer, which means anytime someone leaves a team, changes companies, changes projects, or even if you're like, it's a project that was 2 years old, we put it on the bench and now it's back on the dock, and like kind of transferring all that information from the design intent, even if within the same project, if you're still working on it from the beginning, by the time you get to mass production, like the decisions that you made on the third day about what design theory to like put down, you don't probably remember. So kind of keeping all that information in one place. And then the third one is kind of a forcing function to help you check your design along the way. So by having to do the documentation of the processes, it kind of forces you to check for things. And as you're doing that, chances are that you're going to find out a few bugs along the way, just for the fact of like basically writing everything down. At the end of the day, it all comes down to speed. It's a way to spend a little more time right now to avoid like spending. It's kind of like the early decisions cast long shadows. If you spend a little bit of time in documentation, like on day 3, that probably means you're going to spend a month less of troubleshooting down the road somewhere. But some people call it insurance. I like to think of it as an investment instead, as something that you put down as you go, that it ends up, a lot of people think like, oh, more documentation takes more time. It actually ends up taking you less time down the road, just because you can basically save some of these later problems from happening.